guys, so this is going to be a tutorial to make this, the exploding drawer box, basically. So yeah, the little drawers come out like this, but I've tweaked it a little bit in where I've put a base at the bottom of the drawer here, so that the drawer doesn't come out both sides. So I'm just going to show you how to do that one instead, because it's a much nicer version, if I'm honest. So, okay. And I've reinforced the drawers on it as well, because, you know, we don't want these things falling apart when we use them, because they're going to get used quite a bit, because it's for storage. So this is my exploding drawer box. So what you're going to need is a piece of 12 by 12 with a pattern of your desire. You're going to need a piece of 8 by 8 for the lid. You're going to need 4 pieces of 8 and a half by 6 and 3/4. Yeah, 8 and a half by 6 3/4, and you're going to need 4 pieces of 8 and a half by 5 and 5/8. Okay, so we'll start with this one first, and you're going to score on each side at 4 inches. 8 inches, turn it around, 4 inches, 8 inches. Then you're going to score at 6 7/8 down to the first score line, 6 7/8. And then you're going to turn it around. You do exactly the same again. 6 7/8 down to the first score line, 6 7/8 down to the first score line, 6 7/8 down to the first score line. You should then be left with something that looks like that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to cut away this part here. I'm going to cut away this part here, this part here, and this part here. Right. Get that cut away. And you'll notice when this is done, and you want to save these because they'll make good card backing, so just the right size. So just put those to one side. Don't get rid of them, because, you know, you can use them. I've ruined the orange side of this one now, which is a shame, because I really like the orange side. But I wanted to show you where you needed to remove your... Try and keep the angle straight while you're cutting. It's quite important for aesthetics afterwards, the way it looks. So you should then be left with something resembling a jagged cross. Okay, so it should look like that on all 4 sides. So we can now put that to one side, and we'll start with our drawers. So on the 8 1/4 inch side, I think it's 8 1/4. Yeah, on the 8¼ inch side, you need to score at 1 1/16. Hang on, what am I doing? 1 1/16, 2 1/16, 6 1/4, 7 5/16. And then turn it that way. And you want to score it at 1 1/16, 2 1/16, 4 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 16. It's 4 11/16 and 5 15/16, or 5 3/4, sorry. So it's basically 1 1/16 twice on each side. 1 1/16, 1 1/16, coming down this way from each edge. 1 1/16, 1 1/16, 1 1/16, 1 1/16. You then want to burnish all of these. Like so. And then, like we do on all reinforced boxes, we cut down to the one side like this. Like that. Come round. Cut. You can obviously take much more time over this. I'm just obviously being aware of the camera time and the fact that my phone likes to shut off after 33 minutes and 40 something seconds, which is ridiculous. But that's phones for you. And technology is not my strongest point, so. Otherwise, by now I'd have music for an intro, and that's what I should say when I come on, isn't it, really? Cue the intro. Yeah, after you've done that all the way around, and remember you're going to need 4 of these as well. Then you need to take the snippets like so. And this just makes sure that it doesn't all crease up, and it makes it a lot easier to fold together when you come to gluing it all together. That's all. This is for just to make life a little bit simpler. You don't have to do it, but I recommend doing it. It makes things a lot neater and a lot simpler. So you can get rid of those pieces and you should be left then with something like that. So if we leave that for a second and we move on to our wrap, which is this piece here. It goes around the drawer. So your wrap needs to be 8.5 by 5 5/8. And then you want to score at 2 3/4, 3 7/8, 6 5/8, and 7 3/4. And then you want to turn it around and you want to score it at 4.5. And that's it for scoring on them. Then we burnish all these edges and you should be left with something that looks like that. Okay. Then we burnish all of these. And you know, you want strength left in it, so don't use a bone folder with this one, I'd say. Use a bone folder with your drawer if you want to. It's not necessary. Actually makes it stronger if you don't. Right, so this little tiny square on the end here needs to come away completely. Get rid of that completely. So then we cut up there, make a notch on each side, cut up there, make a notch on each side, and then cut up there, and then make a notch only on the tab. So leave that one square. Okay. Right, now we can start gluing. So let's start gluing our box together. So we glue all our tabs first. Yeah. Glue these outside parts here as well. If you'd rather glue one bit at a time, you go ahead and you glue one bit at a time. Like I said, you spend a lot more time on this than I am. I'm rushing really because I don't want it to get cut off. So until I get a better phone, guys, I'm afraid this is what I'm stuck with. Unless I use my iPod, which seems to be too bright for some reason. So if anybody knows about technology, tell me what I'm doing wrong. Now then. Perhaps there's a timer on my phone that's set that I don't actually realise or something. Make sure we get these all nice and straight. In there. In there like that. In there like that. Now this is when you want to get your bone folder out and you want to burnish those, all of that in there like that, so we can make sure that glue gets all spread around right to the edges. So it makes a nice sturdy box. So you'll be left with a box like that. Now this part is optional, but I would take a notch using a 1-inch hole punch. I would take a notch out of the edge like that. So you're left with a little draw pull. See? Like that. So put that aside for 1 minute and we'll make the wrap. So glue, first of all. So we want, sorry. You want your glue on here. On the outside part, and we want glue on this one on the inside part. And then we want glue on the tab on the outside part of the tab. And then we can put our glue away and we start folding the box up. I recommend we straighten up this line here first, and then that will give us a good idea, that nice and straight. Push those 2 tabs down like that and that one over the top, and it makes it nice and neat. Give it a smush down like that. Get a ruler. Make sure I'm in shot. Oh. Just make sure everything is nicely stuck down there like that. And then burnish that down like that. So we're left with that. And then that should fit in there nicely like that. So we've now got 4 of these. Now you need 4 pieces of DSP, and these are 2.5 by 4 1/4. So we now want to take that and glue that to the top of our box. How am I doing for time? Oh, I'm doing okay. 16 minutes. Okay. Then we glue that on the top there. Like so. Nice and neatly. Get it nice and centralised. There we are. Right, so we bring back this now and burnish these edges. Obviously be mindful of the way you burnish your edges as to which pattern you want on the outside. Now I'm going to have this on the outside because I think it's a nice contrast with the plainness of this. So we take our drawer unit. Put glue. Make sure we've got the bottom of the drawer unit on the bottom. And we need to pop that on there, and we need to stick it right up to that score line, but not over the score line. So your base needs to be facing inwards. Right up to, but not over the score line. So that when it sits like that, it'll sit nicely. And if you take your drawer out, you can give it a good smush down. There we are. So if I do the rest of these now and come back in a second. Okay, so basically now you should have something that looks like that. And what will happen now is all of these will fold up together like so. And when they come down, they won't go back through because you've got the base on here. So what we're going to do now is put that to one side and we'll make the lid. So the lid is basically 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch by 1 inch. No, sorry, I did that wrong, so take that back. What am I like? 7/8 of an inch. Then this one, and then 1 inch. And then 7/8 of an inch and 1 inch. Then we turn around and we go 1 inch and 1 inch, and then we turn around and go 1 inch and 1 inch. So on these two corners, you've got 7/8 of an inch with a 1 inch trim, and then you've got 1 inch and 1 inch on these two corners. Okay, so it should look something like that. Okay, and the 7/8 thing will make sense in a minute when we go to put our lid on. So if we burnish these edges, And we want these edges to be nice and crisp, so we can use a bone folder with these. Okay, so now what we want to do, as with all reinforced boxes, is start getting each corner like so. So I'll get that done and I'll come back. Okay, so now you should have something like that. Now we mustn't forget now to take away the notches out of each one of these. It is really important, guys. It helps things fit nice and flush. Makes your life a lot easier. I mean, you can do it without, but I promise you it would be a lot more difficult. And, you know, if you just take the time to do this, then that'd be grand for you and for whoever's receiving the box. I think these little boxes are great for storing things like your brads or buttons or bows or anything you can think of, really. You know, sky's the limit. It's up to you what you want to store in there. I think my mum will be using it on her desk for rubbers and things like that because she collects rubbers. So, right, so now we want to start gluing. So glue, 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 glue. And this one. And this one. Try not to be in a rush like me, guys, and get glue everywhere. You can afford to take your time. How are we doing for time? It's 22 minutes. Oh, 22 minutes. God, yeah, what is it with me and technology? My husband had to sort my computer out for me today as well because all of the memory suddenly got all used up. And it was like within a week, 100 gigabytes was gone, and we're both like really confused about it. So while I'm away, I'm going off to my mum's for a bit because Dad's in hospital, bless him, because he's diabetic and he's having his toes removed. Not that you really want to know that. So I'm going to stay with my mum for a little while. But I shall still be online. I shall be taking the biggest craft bag with me you've ever seen. Right. So get them stuck down. And don't worry, we'll burnish those just now. Right, now get your bone folder and just burnish those down. And try not to rip it like I've just done, being in a rush. Oh, ho hum, it's just typical, isn't it? There we are. So that's your lid, and that's nice and strong and sturdy. And we get these, fold them all up. Put that on there, like that. And then we have our exploding box, exploding drawer box. Okay. So yeah, have fun making that, guys. I'm sorry that this was such a rushed tutorial. I hope it was straightforward enough for you. So, yeah. If you like what you see, guys, give us that thumbs up, because those thumbs up really are important. Press the subscribe button if you haven't already. Press that ding dong bell so you get my notifications, and I will see you next time. Oh yeah, and thank you for all my new subscribers. Welcome. Love you. Bye now.